The confidence to attract handsome men, hot guys. Don't know what I'm gonna call it, but it's gonna be around those lines. Hello, my name is Chengi, and you, my precious one, are of course my world. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment, and hit that notification bell so that you are informed every single time I upload a video. Now, moving forward to today's title, the confidence to attract handsome men. Now, I really need to sort of give a bit of a caveat before we get into that, because really I wanted to do a video on confidence and I wanted to do a video on how to attract good-looking men, but then I decided that actually they are one in the same thing. They require the same component. But first of all, I need to say this, and it's not going to sit well with all of us, but I need to say this. Not every woman in the world is going to date, marry, or be in a relationship with a handsome man. Now, let me just qualify that for 2 seconds. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What you like is what you like. But I'm talking here about that 2%. That 2% of the human population, that hot guy, that guy that we see on the screen, that guy at work that every girl wants to be with. We're talking about Mr. Just gotta happen. Mr. Most Wanted, right? We're talking about those men that are 8+, 8, 9, 10s. Sometimes they are hot because they've got charisma and power or money, and they just carry themselves in some kind of way. And even though they might not be the best looking, they're still up there with the elite, with the men that women are just flocking over. So not all of us are going to end up with that guy, not because we are not pretty enough, not because we are not good enough, but because to date a man at a certain level, whether he is a celebrity or a really kind of top-notch 2%, wealthy, handsome, spiritual, all these things, you need to show up with a degree of confidence that is not usually found or readily available amongst women. Because let's face it, a lot of us women carry a lot of insecurities about our beauty. We carry a lot of insecurity about our minds. We carry a lot of insecurity about so many things that hardly ever does a woman get to the point where she attains that level of confidence. Now, the women that end up dating that 2%, that guy, are usually women that grew up being and attracting and bringing those men to them, maybe because they were the prom queen, kind of pretty, and maybe they were they were always the kind of alpha female. So that kind of man will naturally gravitate to the prettiest, most effervescent, the most feminine of a group of girls. So that woman has become accustomed to having handsome men approach her, so she has the levels of confidence that most women would not have had growing up. But you too can attain that kind of confidence. You can be the kind of woman that a man that is attractive, that is handsome, that is hot, that is top of the line would look at and think, okay, that's my girl. And that comes, again, like I said, to confidence. But what kind of confidence am I referring to? You see, so many of us have this a little bit twisted. If I am the loudest in the room, the most brash in the room, the one that everybody can see and the one everybody can hear, and I am the thinnest and the tallest, or whatever standards we have, but usually they translate to, if I am the loudest and the most visible person in the room, that equals I am the most confident. I went to a business meeting once. It was like a networking thing that I'd been invited to. So I show up and we are kind of having, everybody's kind of sharing their businesses and what they do. And this woman comes into the room, and it was her turn, and she was like, hello, and how are you? And everything was 10 notches higher. And every time somebody made a comment, she would be, whoa, and everything was, she was a very attractive, very pretty lady. But she was just 10 notches above everybody. And clearly, she was very much a part of that group. And they kind of actually enjoyed her energy, applauded her energy. She brought a bit of party to an otherwise formal and boring sort of setting. But when I was in the room, what I picked up from her energy was a deep sense of insecurity. Because the truth be told, confidence, and wait for this, is very, very, very important that you get this bit. The confidence that is sexy, the confidence that sends forth a resonance and an energy that attracts high value, really hot guys. That confidence is very, very quiet. It's a very quiet. Quiet confidence is the most powerful confidence because it says two things. It says that my value is inherent, and two, my value is apparent. Okay, so when I mean my value is inherent, I am saying that I know, I am secure, I am certain that I am worthy enough, good looking enough, powerful enough, spiritual enough. I take good care of my body. I am confident in who I am as a woman. I know my value, and it doesn't need any validation from the world outside. Now you're thinking, where do you get that kind of value? Can I buy that? Because we all need a little bit of validation. We all need somebody to say, don't you look pretty today, to feel good. Yes, to feel good, we need certain validation, but to be good, you don't need anybody to validate you, honey. All you need is the mirror and your self-talk and the conversations you have in your head with yourself about who you are. When you spin those around and they're powerful, then you have a deep sense of self-ownership. So it's knowing that I am wonderfully and fearfully made. I was born perfect for the world that I want and the things that I desire. That is about your inherent and your quiet understanding that I am worthy. Apparent. If this is the case and you truly believe this, then you have to follow up with the understanding that it is apparent. Everybody can see. Everybody acknowledges when I walk into the room that there comes in a high value woman. There comes in a queen. And when you look at the people around you who are truly confident, they're usually the ones who don't have to use their mouths to proclaim it. They're the ones that don't have to dance the loudest, the ones who have to, in the club or in the situation, the ones that are not wearing the loudest clothing and who don't have the loudest voices and the biggest laugh and the most flirtatiousness. When you look at a truly confident woman, she usually often is quiet. You just think, wow, she carries herself into a room like she belongs there, and she sits down like she's sitting on a throne, and she walks like she owns the place without ever saying a word. You see, quiet confidence is what attracts really hot guys, and I'll tell you why. Hot guys are used to women flocking, trying, vying for their attention. They're used to women being so readily available, and they know that these women are low self-esteem women. They know that these women have low self-worth. And it's always the woman that isn't chasing. It's always the woman that isn't trying. I'll give you an example. You know, I was part of a group for quite a while, and I think I may have shared this on some of my other videos. But I was in a group of women, and there was this one hottie, right? There were men too, but there was this one hot guy, right? And this is very typical of the situations that I find myself in. There was this incredibly hot guy, and these women would flock to him. He was a musician, and when he finished playing, you would, if you wanted to know where he was, just look for where the women are gathered, was the kind of hot that he was and the kind of energy that he had. I mean, this guy had even little girls having a crush on him. Like, I would see these 5-year-olds like, oh my God, here we go. Okay, he was that kind of hot. And I simply don't play those games because I didn't see him and look at him and think, oh my God, I'd be so lucky if he spoke to me. Oh my God. And that is true confidence. I don't need a good looking man to validate my worth, to validate whether. I used to just think it's a good thing that's not happening around me because I'm just not that girl. And so for a very long time, he wouldn't necessarily make a move or speak to me because I have that energy where I'm gonna go where I'm going and do what I'm doing. Yes, I could see that he was an attractive guy, but I don't play for the cameras. I don't need to do that. And a lot of confident women don't really feel they need to play for the cameras. I would be the first person there and the first person out. By the time you look for me, I'm gone. Other girls would linger around in the hopes that he would spot them. But I was the girl that was like, okay, done, I'm off. And after about 2 years, he eventually summed up the courage. Well, it's more like God sort of created a scenario where we actually got to talk. And I realized, oh, actually, for all his whatever, he's actually got depth and heart, and, you know, it's part of his world because of the way that he looks and the way that he shows up in the world, that women want to be around him. Older women, and, you know, the women and their mothers were all like everybody wanted his attention because that's the halo effect of a good looking man. And he said to me that really you were just different. And time again, I have been in the same situation where I've ended up with the hottest guy in the room, the hottest man in the situation, not because I go looking for them, but because I know that they really enjoy the chase, the challenge of a woman who is confident in herself, who owns herself, who understands that her value is not something that she needs to go beg and borrow. Her value is not in the clothes she's wearing or whatever. She inherently believes she is worthy. She inherently and apparently knows that she is worthy. Why? Because I do the work. You invest within yourself. You do what you have to do. You focus on the self-work. The Soulmate Attraction System course does that work. The work I do with my clients, that's that work. And that's the work I do every single day. And so if you are not prepared to manicure your spirit, manicure your mind, manicure your self-worth, because the girls that get the gold are the ones who truly inherently believe they're pure gold, that truly believe that I am that girl. And we've all seen that average looking girl next door woman with this gorgeous man walking, and you're thinking, what happened there? Okay, what happened was she doesn't see herself as average looking. She sees herself as pure gold. Now, that's not to say that there are some good looking men who are deeply insecure, and that can also very much be the case with a lot of good looking men. They can also be insecure, and so they don't have the courage, because women always come to them. They haven't developed the courage to actually go for what they want, right? They haven't developed that masculine energy to say, that's the girl I want and I'm gonna go after that girl. So they will eventually choose and pick off the ones that are kind of panting at their feet, right? So sometimes that is really what is going on, is that they've chosen from the ones that have presented themselves rather than chosen from the one that they have gone off to get. So sometimes when you see that scenario, that's usually and sometimes very much the case. But I also wanted you to kind of consider and to think about the fact that when you gather yourself in a state and mind of confidence, and it is true confidence, you will naturally attract, you will send out so much sexy energy, because confidence is very, very sexy. And it sort of says to a man in a mysterious way, what does she know about herself that is not apparent to everybody? Why is she so content and happy to be by herself, dancing by herself? I remember, I think I've shared this on my video again. I went out with a bunch of girls, and they were all applying for this really gorgeous guy, and they were all getting up to dance and and they really wanted his attention, because what he had done was separate himself from his guy friends, because he had obviously spotted what he wanted. And so he came to the area that we were around, and the girls were really trying to come across sexy and confident. And I remember just sitting there, letting them all go and dance. And I sat there and I was just having my drink, and I was talking to one of the other girls. And I looked at him, I noticed him, I thought he was a bit weird, to be fair. But then I turned around and started talking to my other girls. And then a song that I really liked came up when all the girls were tired. They were like fed up. They started coming because they just were not getting his attention. So I get up and I decided, okay, I'm going to dance because I like this tune. Because I don't follow the flow. I am actually what you call a sigma female. That is an introverted alpha. I don't actually need validation from people, from friends. I am naturally built that way, that I am very self-validating. I enjoy my space. If I think I look good, then I look good. I don't need anybody to tell me I look good, right? Even though I enjoy it and I appreciate it, I've always been that sigma female. I don't mind going on holiday alone. I don't mind living alone. I don't mind doing things alone. Alone works just fine. And so, I like the song. I got up to dance and he literally swept me off my feet. And that was the end of that story. But also, what made it possible for me to keep him for as long as I wanted to keep him, because obviously at some point I ended that relationship for other reasons. But what happened and what allowed me to keep him is that confidence was always there, always evident in my banter, in my flirtation. And I remember something that really cracked him up. He was so like, oh my gosh, he told all his friends. And this is what he said. He had called me, and we'd met at the club, and he called me the day after. In fact, he called me while I was still in the club just to make sure that he got the right number. Then he called me at the end of the evening, so he wanted to make sure that he was going to be able to call me. So then he called me the following day, and he said, oh, I'm really sorry, I had to leave. He bought me a drink and sort of excused himself and went downstairs and started talking. He said, I came with a bunch of friends and I didn't want them to think that I'd sort of deserted them, so I had to sort of go downstairs. And I said to him, well, that's fine, I get that, because I can't imagine any other reason why any man would walk away from all of this. Right? Now, I said that obviously in a very jokey way, but he had never obviously met a woman who was that kind of confident to say all of this. Right? And obviously he just laughed his head off because he knew that I was just being funny. But even my humor you will never hear me say something like, oh, I just wish I was as pretty as that girl. Or my energy and my humor is very, I am all that. I am that. And a bag of chips plus a dip. But I'm not going to verbalize it to you. I'm not going to put it in your face, because it's apparent. It's inherent and it's apparent. So men generally find that men who are confident and high value find that so sexy, because they're constantly dealing with women that don't love themselves. Now, you've got to be careful, because arrogance and confidence can be a very, very thin line. Okay, so you have to understand that it has to come from an inherent place. You can't flirt like that if you genuinely don't feel that way about yourself, because it will read as arrogant. And of course, it's not a joke that I joke with most men. It's just that I knew he could take it, and he did, and he told all his friends, you never believe what she said to me, because he'd never encountered that. A lot of good-looking men don't often encounter women that are in self-possession, women that know and feel good about themselves, and act as though they're good about themselves, and are able to say, yes, all of this goodness, all of this goodness. I'm aware of my goodness. Are you aware of my goodness? Because I know you're aware of my goodness. And that is what allows you to resonate and vibrate at a frequency that really attracts hot men, whether they're celebrities or rich or handsome. When you walk into the room like the queen that you are, and you have the confidence to own yourself and not need to be loud or brash, or if you got the confidence to just be, girl, you'll have every hot man around your little finger. So like I said in the beginning of the video, until you harness that power and you hone in that ability to truly be confident without being arrogant, you will never really end up with that 2%. And not all of us can marry the 2%, but even if he is not that 2% and is a man that you really want and admire, and a lot of women want him, confidence will help you win that race. I hope this video was good for you. And if you would like to help me help you build up your confidence on a one-to-one, please book yourself a session with me at chengisworld.co.uk/shop. Myself or one of my coaches will be more than happy to talk you through building your confidence, showing up as high value, so that you will always be the first pick in any good-looking man's bunch. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. In the meantime, take care of you. Love you, love.